It's another episode of What's Next, and it's a great pleasure to welcome Stephen Coull, who is the sales director at Keyrus, to tell us all about Keyrus, what they do. And I'm super excited because we're going to talk about something I'm very passionate about, and that's data. And Keyrus is a leading technology consultancy in South Africa, becoming increasingly recognized for its competence within the business intelligence world. And this is what we hear more and more about. Stephen, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about Keyrus. What do you guys exactly do?
Thanks, Aki. Yeah, great to meet with you and I have this opportunity to share a little bit about Keyrus. We were established about 10 years ago by two of our founders, Greg Guy and Matt Mottram, who were working in financial services in organizations globally. And they came back to South Africa and started Keyrus South Africa. It's part of a global group. So within the group, there are around 3,500 colleagues across 20 countries, 4 continents. And really our mandates and purpose, Aki, is to make data matter. In this world of data and, burgeoning data that people are exposed to, we try to help people make sense of that data through our capabilities and the technologies that we leverage. We've been fortunate to date to have 20 of the JSE top 100 companies trust us with their business intelligence and data requirements. And so, it's kind of an honor to be able to be trusted with guys that are serious organizations and play a role in their kind of data and digital landscapes.
That's pretty impressive. You've got 20 of those JSE companies, You say?
Yeah, it's a fantastic accolade and testament to the capabilities and the kind of people we have in this organization. I think just to share a little bit more around the business intelligence, we offer more than just the business intelligence as part of Keyrus, and it's that end-to-end data stack that we talk about. And so we've broken our capabilities into 4 or 5 competencies. And there we speak of things like data management, so data integration, moving data between systems and applications, Internet of Things. We talk about data advisory as another competency where we help organizations with technology roadmaps, with data maturity assessments. I think the cornerstone of Keyrus is really in the visual analytics and business intelligence, and that's where the company was founded. And so there we do dashboarding, training as well on the visualization and dashboarding. 4th competency is what we call enterprise performance management. So there we're helping organizations run IT as a business through a concept called IT financial management, budgeting and forecasting. And then finally, just on the management consulting, it's around how we help these organizations deliver these technologies into a change control process. And quite often that's the most important. If you're spending all this money on a technology, it's about how it changes the typical way of doing things so that you get a return on investment. And so, we focus on those areas.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. So, data runs through your DNA. Right. Everything you do has a data focus, whether you are making sense of the data, presenting it, moving it around. And it's extraordinary to think how much data is being created every single day. And I guess that, businesses just can't cope with the amounts of data. You need to try make sense of it and get the intelligence out of that data so you can focus on actually running your business. And we've seen so much growth in this sector over the past few years. What do you attribute the success of Keyrus per se? Because there's obviously other companies that do similar stuff, but I don't think quite as comprehensively as you've described. So where does the success come from? What do you attribute the success to?
Aki, great question. I think the one differentiator we have is being part of this global group of Keyrus, as I mentioned. And so we are able to tap into this global kind of intellectual property where maybe parts of the organization are leveraging technologies and have use cases that we can bring back to our clients locally. So that's one element. But probably the 3 most important elements are our people. We have incredible people that we've been fortunate to attract into our organization. And then retaining them is obviously the other challenge that we all have these days. And so we create a really awesome working environment for them. We challenge them. We do a lot of elements around family fun days, fitness Fridays. But it's about looking after your people, because they come first and foremost and they translate that value onto clients. I think
Yeah.
the second point is around understanding our clients' needs. Sounds like a bit of a cliche, but you need to acutely understand their business and technical needs. And quite often, a lot of our competitors maybe are strong in the technical side, but you need to balance that with the business acumen. And our team is really well versed on both sides of that equation. And then finally, just partnering with appropriate technologies. There are a lot of shiny balls out there, Aki. There's new technologies coming out all the time. And our mandate at Keyrus is to partner with only the leading technologies. An example there is, Gartner have the Magic Quadrant for BI and analytics platforms and solutions. And one of our kind of successful partnerships is with Tableau, who's been named the leading analytics leader in the Gartner platform for over 10 years. So that's been an incredible partnership, and it's really led to a lot of success, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on that because I believe that you're celebrating a new partner status with Tableau. And that's massive. Tell us about Tableau and what this elevated position means to you and your customers.
Yeah, I guess first and foremost, pretty proud to be nominated for what we call Tableau Premier status, Aki. So that's the highest status that you can achieve in the Tableau Partner Network. And it really comes down to us achieving a number of competencies around customer retention, capabilities, etc., etc. But we're the only partner in South Africa and on the African continent to have this accolade. So it's something we're incredibly proud of. But what does that mean for our customers, as you asked? So it allows us to, first of all, serve them with the best technology and business people, marketing people as well. But it also gives us access into Tableau, where we can introduce them and set up conversations with thought leaders and industry experts in those specific areas. And so that's definitely a differentiator that we have maybe over some of the other competitors that we have in this space. It's also just been a fantastic partnership from a cultural fit, working together. Often in vendors and partners, it's supposed to be a partnership, but quite often there's sometimes a little bit of friction. And this is a true partnership where we work together, we sell together, we deliver together, and it's been a phenomenal partnership to date.
That's amazing. What would you say the embedded analytics in the what's next in business intelligence are? I'd like you to expand on that because I think for me, business intelligence, I find it absolutely amazing, the stuff you can do with data today. Talk to me a little bit more about how it actually benefits businesses today, all of that intelligent business data.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe just to add to that, so we've been named the Tableau Embedded Specialist Partner for the region. Again, I mentioned South Africa and Africa as a whole. And we're seeing it as a really growing trend in BI or business intelligence. And the fact of the matter that Tableau just has a fantastic platform from a governance perspective, security, connectivity, capability, and pricing. Pricing is a simple thing for customers to understand, and it might seem like a simple thing, but it's such an important part of that sales process. But in terms of embedded, Aki, we're seeing it being an extension of what people are doing in their normal day-to-day workflow, sometimes referred to as external analytics. So what we mean by that is typically in an organization, someone will be doing something and then they'll have to leave their application and go and log into another BI application to get the insights that they want. What embedded or external does, it allows the user to stay within their workflow and find the information they're looking for. And so what that drives is better user adoption. People almost don't know that they're using BI to make decisions and complete their workflows. We're finding it's a better user experience. But for me, the most exciting is the commercial opportunity it provides, where all companies these days are essentially data companies. And with this data and making it available through an external embedded BI use case, they can make it available to people within their ecosystem to drive a better customer experience or supplier or agent experience. And I think a lot of organizations don't realize the power of the data that they're sitting on. And so we can help them discover that and monetize that through this embedded experience.
Yeah, I can have a discussion with you about data and how you can use it in a business for hours, because it's just absolutely fascinating. I often tell people it's when you're making sense of that data and you adding that level of intelligence, it's almost as if you're shedding light on your
Yeah,
business to see things that you don't normally see, right? And
completely.
I mean, the customer experience is just such a great example that you've used. I know that you've successfully implemented Tableau at a number of your customers. Tell me some of the most prevalent challenges you are facing for your customers. And you touched on customer experience earlier. I think customer experience must surely be one of those big challenges that
Yeah,
organizations face today.
yeah, absolutely. I think where Tableau comes in is sets the standard in visual analytics. So it's the best in class from a visual experience perspective. But going back to the customer element, I think we had a situation with an RFP that we won a couple of years back. Again, this was with the largest freight and minerals logistics company in the country. And they had a challenge where they had a lot of manual, repetitive work. They had a number of legacy systems not talking to one another. And so the expectation was, in order to drive visibility at a centralized level through an initiative, was for us to be able to create a platform which was a visibility platform. And it required elements in terms of on the site in the mines and also at the port. So it's really heavy industry to get this data through IoT or Internet of Things devices, stream it real time to a cloud data warehouse. And then we applied an embedded Tableau use case on top of that to be able to provide the required information to the operational workforce to be able to plan, predict, and run the organization better. Their main KPI is throughput. They need to move product from the mines to the ports to the customers. And so through this visibility and forecasting of a single version of the truth, they really were able to drive those KPIs up and to the right, so to speak. A fantastic use case and a really modern data platform we've provided them that's future-proofed for a long time to come. I think another example...
So you guys don't just focus on...
Sorry.
Sorry, just on that, talking about ports, before you go into that next
Yeah.
example, I mean, you guys don't focus on one specific industry, right? I mean, any industry that uses data is an industry that you can help
Yeah.
with the data challenges, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned earlier. So we service all industries. Our client base is across all industries, from mining to logistics to healthcare to financial services. So, every data, actually we believe is a data business. You're collecting data. And so you need to make sense of that data. And we'll come and provide the lens to the required persona, because every persona in an organization has a different need. The boardroom requires high-level executive dashboards. Operational people require more information, more detail, and they need to be able to ask questions of that data to make sense and make decisions. And so, these platforms like Tableau provides a seamless experience for that to take place.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. You were about to talk about another great example earlier. If you can touch on that before I interrupted you, apologies.
No problem. You can see I'm quite passionate about this subject, Aki, so we're probably talking over one another.
Tell.
Another example was a large Southern African brewery, which might spark the interest of some of the listeners. But they were really looking to move from on-premise to the cloud, from a data storage perspective, but also from a business intelligence perspective. And there we partnered with Tableau's cloud solution, which is fully hosted by Tableau. So they take care of all the infrastructure and the back end, and we just configure it as a partner for the client's needs. And so they have the security and peace of mind that everything's taken care of them by Tableau. And then they have the benefits of just working with Keyrus to be able to support the business needs through visualization, analytics, and decision making.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, talk to me more about that business-wide BI enablement, because it's important. I mean, why is it so important? And how does Keyrus answer this particular customer need?
Yeah, I think it's such an important part of the end-to-end value proposition, or what we call the whole product offering, Aki. You deliver a piece of technology, it doesn't change anything. It's about how it gets adopted and how it gets used, which really drives that return on investment. And so we've invested heavily in training enablement, but where it differs from, I think, what a lot of people are doing, it's very context specific. So we leverage the client's data and we deliver this training, interactive training, leveraging their data so they can actually see real life examples and solve real life problems through the training and enablement, and it's immediately applicable in the workforce rather than delivering it on a demo data set. So we found great feedback from clients that have given us testimonials and great success stories in terms of the way we've delivered this. Just to touch further on that, I think another big element is what's in the industry is a buzzword, data literacy. So, we're providing these lenses of all this information that's coming in, but how do people interpret that? Such a key part, you're giving these beautiful dashboards, but what does it actually mean, and how do you interpret that to make decisions? And so part of our enablement and training has been around interpreting that information to make better decisions. And I mean, it sounds obvious, but it's something that's quite often overlooked, and it's such an important part as we all try to drive a data culture in our organizations.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, when you look at data, it's quite extraordinary to see how it's evolved, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen a massive evolution over the past few years, the massive volumes of data. Where is it going? What's next when it comes to data and business intelligence discipline as a whole? And I'd like to also add a tag onto that. I mean, when you look at the speed at which data is moving,
Yeah.
we talk about data being on the edge so many times, and now we've got 5G that's going to be coming mainstream. So the speed at which data is moving is quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
How do you make sense of it? Where is all this business intelligence going?
Yeah. Yeah, it's staggering. Okay, and even if we work in technology, it's staggering for us. So you can understand the complexity for a lot of our clients. And that's where we come in. We come in to help them make sense of that. And maybe just to take a step back before I answer your question, McKinsey did a study that most organizations these days are driving data analytics culture. They want to be data driven. But their study found that 92% of these organizations are failing to scale analytics. And then what they did, so what are these other 8% doing? How are the only 8% really being successful in driving this enterprise-wide data-driven culture? And there are a couple of key elements there that were kind of founded in a framework that Tableau established known as the Tableau Blueprint, which we leverage in our organization as well. And just very high level, it talks about agility of the platform to be able to serve the business needs. Proficiency, it's about the ability of the users to use the tool and the platform. And then the community. And I think that community is such an important part in terms of driving that cultural change so that organizations have the ability to understand what needs to be done as part of these applications and analytics platforms come in, and how they can get assistance, who they go to for support. And so it's those three elements that are so interchangeable. It's so important to driving this future value. In terms of trends though, we're seeing, cloud BI is a big drive. Everyone's pushing data into the cloud. The connectivity benefits there are massive. Collaborative BI, where it's not just within your organization, but you can collaborate with stakeholders beyond your immediate ecosystem. Self-service, bit of a buzzword, everyone just needs self-service. It's no longer relies with IT to provide and procure the data for you to report on. Everyone is a data citizen, and so to democratize data, we need it available to the whole organization, and that needs to be through self-service to answer questions. And then I guess a little bit on the cutting edge would be augmented analytics, which are really using machine learning and AI techniques to further improve the data curation and insights and dissemination of data across the organization. But our mantra in Keyrus is, although we make data matter, it's about humanizing that data so that it makes a tangible difference. Not technology for technology's sake. It's got to be pragmatic, and it's got to make a difference to drive the business's goals that they're trying to strive for. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense, and again, it just goes with everything in life, there's so much complexity in doing business today that you can't keep up with everything. You can't keep up with your cyber defenses, you can't keep up with your cloud stuff, you can't keep up with how you're going to manage your data. Get the experts like Keyrus to make sense of the data while you focus on the key components of your business. Let that data tell you and give you those indicators on where you should be
Yeah,
focusing your
absolutely.
business on and where you should be improving to be a cut above your competitors out there. And that you will only get through data.
Agreed. It's not a nice to have anymore, Aki. It's an absolute imperative to remain competitive and outperform your competitors. So, yeah, it's no longer a nice to have. You know, people have to make sense of their data and use it to drive competitive advantage. So, yeah, spot on.
Stephen Coull, such a pleasure talking to you about such a fascinating subject that I'm really passionate about, and I love the fact that you guys are working with a world-class organization like Tableau, understanding the data. Sales director at Keyrus, proudly South African, and really representing so many organizations on the JSE, as you mentioned. You guys are doing amazing, amazing work, and great to watch your growth. And look forward to catching up very soon and watching even more successes at Keyrus. Stephen Coull, Sales Director at Keyrus. Thank you for joining us on What's Next.
Thank you, Aki.